Welcome to Kaks Bar and Podcast, Canada's first podcast bar. What that means is you can come here for food, you can come here for drinks, you can also come here and record a podcast. Come on down, we're located in downtown Calgary, Alberta in the Beltline area. See you soon.
And we're rolling. I'm here today with Jenny Lao, right? Okay, yeah, Jenny's with Verzilla. Tell people what Verzilla is, first of all.
Yeah, so I started this company. I got laid off, and I thought that...
Where'd you get laid off from?
A window and door company.
A what?
A window and door company.
Okay.
Yeah, and I was working a 9 to 5, and I figured that people needed help with administrative work, but they didn't need someone full-time. So I was like, it was virtual assistant before it was virtual assistant, because no one kind of knew about that. So I started with that, and then I got into social media marketing, and I've been doing that ever since. And now I offer social media consulting. So helping companies like Criminal Justice Academy get their website going, planning out their social media, consulting on how they can do better with their social media, and encouraging them to basically chase their dreams and have it come true.
Is it all like any businesses can use it?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so it's like because I met Jenny because there's going to be a podcast coming up pretty soon here called the what's it even called? The CCJA podcast?
Yeah, CCJA
it's
podcast.
Criminal Justice Academy podcast. It's basically cop college before you go to become a cop. And then Jenny's been helping them do their social media. Shout out Lonnie, if you ever see this one. Lonnie's a very experienced cop, and then and I got connected there, and then Jenny and I are fellow Asians, if you haven't noticed. And and like we kind of got to know each other a little bit here, and now we're just like, the theme of today is actually Asians in business. Yes. So but first, like, I still want to wrap my head around Verzilla. Like, so social media marketing, as in you make like everyone's TikToks, Instagram reels, like things like that.
Yeah, so I started doing that, and now I've moved on to educating business owners on how they can do it and providing them with the skills that they need. Because sometimes when they want to start a business, they don't know where to start with social media. It's so overwhelming, and sometimes obviously it's oversaturated. They're really confused. There's,
like, you're talking about older people, right?
Yeah, older people, and exactly older people that have businesses that need help with that. Mm-hmm. I also do website designs, so I'm just consulting on how they can start their business. Consulting on like small business, how they can get started, what they need, corporations or incorporating, just little small business details like administrative. They need a CRM. A lot of people just aren't too sure how to get started. So I'm just there to help them every step of the way, including social media. Okay, wow. So you're literally like a business startup consultant.
Yeah. And then like on top of it, you do social media.
Yes.
But your social media, I take it is geared more or less for the generation older.
Yes.
Yeah. Because like, yes. I'm like, dude, like people, Gen Alpha definitely knows how to use
they
social.
100%.
Like I'm actually, I don't even, wait, how
I'm
old
34.
Are you? Okay, I'm 38. So
yeah,
roughly in the same
close,
range. Yeah. Because like the younger Gen Alpha, like we were dinosaurs compared to what they're doing.
100%. I'm like catching up. I'm like, how did that 17-year-old, like I have a nephew and he's turning 18 soon. I'm like, how did you do that on Snapchat?
Yeah.
So definitely I'm catching up, but obviously continuously trying to learn and helping businesses get their name out there. Just trying to bridge that gap because they don't know where to start and how to go.
Yeah, you mentioned something about the saturation of the social media market. Like I agree. Like I know, I mean, I just recently published a podcast. Like shout out Kat Jones. Like, she also does social media marketing. It's like it seems like there's a lot of that going around because like, is there just like a lot of demand for that? Like you kind of said there was, but I'm like, maybe I'm out of loop, like, because I'm just noticing is it that much in demand we're talking about? Because I know I can rattle off at least like 20 marketers now, like just that I met recently.
It really is. It's so much in demand. And also I find that a lot of people are having multiple businesses, and sometimes they don't want to run, all social media marketing for every single business. So there's always outsourcing as well. So it's just really, it's oversaturated, I find, because of the algorithm.
What do you mean by that?
The algorithm on like Instagram. You know, it used to be you could post a picture and your friends would see it. But now they probably won't see it if you're lucky if they do. So I feel like it's just really oversaturated and it's overwhelming when the older generation don't understand that. They just think that if you post it, you'll see it. Especially if they have Facebook and they're following their friends. It's a lot of that, right? If your friends post something on Facebook, most likely you're going to see it. So I think that's where their understanding is.
Yeah. And it's, I actually, man, like I'm embarrassed to say, like I kind of didn't, if you don't think about these kind of things, like you actually don't think about it as much. Like it's ridiculous. Cause even when I was posting like at YouTube at the beginning, it was funny. It was like, I was getting some more views than now. After I launched this podcast business, like the more the paradox is the more podcasts I shoot out of this room, the less views mine get, because they're probably tagging all the same, like Calgary podcast or something like that.
And the algorithm, I find when you first start posting, it's like pushing you out there, and then slowly it kind of gets slowed down. Yeah, just the way media works.
Okay. Okay. Well. We got a little bit more getting to know Jenny right there, but let's dive into what you want to ask me about the Asians in business thing? So because you fired me an email and I was like, oh sweet, that sounds like a good idea.
Yeah. So I went to an Asian Heritage Month event, and it was so eye-opening because I didn't realize that so many people were also going through the same thing I went through. So a little bit of a backstory before the event. Growing up, I was born in Calgary, but English is my second language. My parents didn't know English, so I went into school not knowing English. And
like zero English going to grade like
kindergarten. 3? Did not know. Maybe knew 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But
you're Chinese, right?
Yeah, I'm Chinese.
Yeah, same here.
So I had zero English.
Cantonese at home or Mandarin?
I actually speak a dialect. It's called Chuzhou.
Oh, okay. No, I know. Yeah. My dad's Chuzhou.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So that's what we spoke at home. But when I was young, I did know how to speak Mandarin Cantonese.
Oh, okay. So wait. So you do know all three?
I do know. I don't know Mandarin as much anymore. I can understand Cantonese. I just can't speak it because nobody speaks it to me. But I am fluent in Chuzhou. Okay. Yeah, and sweet. Still am, yeah. But kind of going through racism when I was young, the school system not understanding, English as a second language. Do you want to tell
which school you went to?
I went to Pembroke Meadows.
Okay, that's elementary, right?
Yeah, I went to elementary. I went to Pembroke Meadows.
What were junior high and high school?
I went to Sir John Franklin, and then I went to James Fowler.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I know. I know all those schools. Yeah. I'm a Diefenbaker and Sir John A.
Yeah. So I was then labeled as I had a learning disability, I think in like grade 2.
Oh, no, I'm laughing because I know you don't have a learning disability. Like, anyway.
So it turns out after I got into Mont Royal and I was applying, because you can apply if you have a learning disability, you can get a grant. They're like, hey, your report actually doesn't really say what you have. I think they were just confused because you didn't know English. So I grew up my whole entire school years thinking that I had a learning disability. I would go to like learning disability classes. And in elementary, they didn't know much about learning disabilities. So I would get pulled out of class and all we would do is read. And so I wouldn't learn anything. Like I literally did not learn any foundation of anything in elementary because I would get pulled out to read for most of the day and then I'd go back.
Okay, sorry, I'm not understanding. Like, but when you were reading and you're showing your reading, weren't they like, hey, I don't think she has a learning disability. She's literally reading.
I think they just didn't catch on because I guess there's so many forms of learning disability. And back in the 90s, they didn't really know like what ADHD was or, dyslexic. I don't think they really knew. So anyways,
Okay,
you're
well,
supposed to get tested.
Yeah, shame on you, that elementary school,
So
man. Like,
I'm really just like trying to make sure that the kids don't grow up the way I did and like not really have a foundation and not being like left behind. Because when you school here, you just kind of sort of get left behind. If you don't know something, like you just move on to the next class. So I grew up like that. But also in between this, having racism, of course, that was happening, and all throughout elementary, junior high.
Kids can be mean.
Kids can be mean. And a huge thing for me, which is oddly weird, is like food. Like they would be super judgmental about food. I don't know if other.
Wait, like did you bring home like Chinese home cooked meals?
Yeah,
to
I would like
school?
bring lunch to school.
Like, but hold on, did you bring because like I can relate a lot. Like I'm born and raised in Calgary. I didn't learn English. Well, to be honest, I learned Cantonese English simultaneously because, but I remember, like there was a period where I was bringing like Chinese food to school, but it's just like, I don't know. I kind of told mom like I was like let's stop doing this because like Same. I love eating fish, and stuff, but like like when you whip it out of the container, like. All the kids around basically want to kick my ass and stuff, and like so, and then I don't know, but I didn't have as much of the racism bullying as you had, maybe just because I don't know, like I was whatever. I'm a dude, so like you would just fight the kid,
right, and I would
respect that
cry
way.
in the corner. I mean, I'm a pretty sassy gal, so I really try to be sassy back, but it's just I just don't want kids to have to grow up like that, like how I did. And this brings me to again this event at the Asian Heritage.
Oh, sorry. Did you want to? How did the story end though? Because you found out you didn't actually have a learning disability.
Oh, sorry.
And you end up going to college, right?
I ended up going to college without a grant.
Yeah.
And I don't have a learning disability.
And throughout high school, and sorry I interrupted, but
no, it's okay.
But throughout high school and junior high, then like you lost out on taking normal classes.
Yeah, like I would lose out again, on taking normal classes. I mean, they would extend the time that I could take my tests, so that was a plus.
Okay.
But really, in elementary, I didn't really learn much because they just pulled me out of class almost every day to read.
So do you know fractions?
No.
That's all right. I kind of forget fractions now too. But
what are those?
Yeah.
So yeah, just the story that having English as a second language, going through racism, and kind of feeling like I was the only person who was going through this.
I don't know why I'm like imagining that Dave Chappelle skit where he didn't realize he was black and he joined the KKK. Like it's like that's you. Like you went your whole life. You're like wearing helmets and stuff, but you didn't need to the whole time. And then one day you're like, "What? Like I was good this whole time." Like,
and
you guys wasted so much of my fucking time.
Yeah, I was so upset to find out because it was so ingrained in my identity. Like I wasn't good at school, so I was like, "This is the reason. This is the reason why." And then to find out that I actually don't have a learning disability, I'm like, "Oh, no, there's no reason." Although it's still a mystery. I probably still maybe do have a learning disability, just undiagnosed somehow.
Or you by choice you have a learning disability when it's convenient for you, basically.
Yeah.
Like,
Exactly. A selective learning disability.
Okay, so happily ever after, Jenny got her degree.
Actually. I dropped out.
Oh, never mind.
I found a corporate job and I was like, I'm not going to school no more.
Oh, shit. What were you taking?
I was going to become a teacher, but found out I actually don't like other people's kids much. So I'm very, very thankful that I am not a teacher. I have a girlfriend who's the teacher. And
did you want to become a teacher after you found out? You're like, wait a minute, I'm not learning disabled. I better like teach kids now, I
think it was just a career that I was like, hey, my parents want me to go to college, and that seems like a good career, and you get summers off.
Classic Asian parents.
Yeah, because I was like, I'm not smart enough to be a doctor. I'm not smart enough to be a lawyer. I was like, well, maybe a teacher would be all right. So that's what I kind of
what class? What class? Like, yeah, what do you want to teach? Like originally,
I think I was going for junior high. I mean, you're young, you don't know. But now knowing what I know, apparently junior high is brutal. Kids are ruthless.
Man. Like, I had a decent time in junior high, but it was some traumatic days, man. Like
I had a great time in junior high, and
everyone took it easy on you. Like, oh, there's the learning disabled girl.
Yeah, it's just like, it's okay. Yeah,
it's okay, bud.
So it wasn't too bad, but yeah, it just, I don't know.
Okay, we lost track. Okay, let's fast forward now to Jenny's obviously like is a productive member of society here now. And,
I'm a productive member of society. I'm an entrepreneur. I go to this Asian Heritage Month event, and everyone is talking about their experience.
Tell me more about this. Wait, where was this at? And I didn't hear about this event.
So I found it on Everbyte. I was looking up networking events, and I found this, and I was like, oh, cool, great. Like, I'm Asian. This works. It was at Bankers Hall, and they hosted it, and I walked in, and I was like, wow, like, this is... And usually when I go to a networking event, there's a lot of other colored people, as there should be. But
this one was Asian.
And most of the people in there were Asian. And I was like, wow, I don't think I've ever been to a networking event where everyone was Asian. And it was super cool. So I sat down, listened to everyone's story regarding their childhood, regarding their life, and kind of what they were going through. And they too also had something similar, of bullying or discrimination. And this was a lot about in the corporate world, discrimination, and how...
Are you talking about like Harold and Kumar stuff? Have you ever seen that movie?
Yeah.
You remember how like everyone made Harold... Oh, was it Kumar? Yeah, Harold. Yeah, they made Harold do all the paperwork or whatever, Like, you're talking about that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and how a lot of Asian kids grow up where they have to learn to be like quiet and really well-mannered, and they sometimes don't want to step on toes.
This might sound weird, and again, I'm sorry I keep interrupting.
No,
we're
okay.
just in the flow of this conversation.
Yeah.
I'm using a stupid like screen switcher thing, so without it, normally we just flow more naturally. But I'm also like timing it. But I want to say I heard this once when I was a kid. I'm not going to say who told me this, but he was Asian. He was older. I was supposed to like look up to him, and he said to me, he's like, "Yo, Shawn, just so you know, like, Asians aren't the main character in this story." And I was like, what do you mean? And then he was like, well, look around, like take a look around, notice how there's fewer of us in your school and everything. Like, he's like, imagine life is like a movie. And he was like, we aren't the main characters. And then I remember like as a kid, I was like, so what does that mean? He's like, well, think of it like the main character, let them shine. Like, so you're like a side character. Yeah, you're a side character. So don't ever try to like outshine him. Don't try to like get too competitive or whatever. Like, lay low, just focus on, like whatever, schoolwork and shit like that. Anyway, but I remember, hearing this, and it actually like put some psychological trauma into me, because like even when I played sports, I was a pretty athletic kid, and I was like, man, like I want to get competitive, I want to go for the win here, but then like I found myself holding back, and then feeling bad if I kind of did better, because it caused but like I actually understood what the person was saying, because I remember one time, like really young, like it's a vague memory, but it's there. Like I remember beating this kid, and like it's in like it was soccer or something. I got past him, I scored, and then I remember I remember one of the teachers chuckling some like racist remark. Like it's like, but as a kid I couldn't recognize it or something. It was like I don't remember but I know it was a racist remark. It was kind of like, oh, you don't see that every day kind of thing,
right?
Like, and then I remember like, yeah, but I was a kid, and I didn't adhere to that mentality, because I don't know, I'm a little bit more rebellious, so whatever. But the fact that was said to me, And I almost not like I never bought into it, but the fact that was even trying to be laid into my foundation, and I'm like, terrible. But that's because Buddy probably experienced that.
Yes.
You know?
Yes, exactly. And that's the thing. Like, it could come from someone else. It could come from your parents. And
wasn't my parents.
Yeah. I mean, it's a little too late. For my parents, it was a little too late for them to tell me to be quiet. It's that, it's just my personality. I'm loud and obnoxious. But a lot of it was them holding back, or being told to hold back, or feeling like they have to be held back. And a lot of their experience was very, very similar to how I felt, whether it was in school or at work and corporation. So it was just really interesting to hear that other people had the same experience I did. And I don't know why I thought this was like the most revolutionary thing, because I had no idea that other people were actually going through it.
These people are saying they're going through it still currently?
Sometimes, yes. And I had worked at a company, and it was the boss's son. We had gotten in an argument because he wasn't doing what he was supposed to do, and I was doing it, of course. And
he wasn't Asian.
He wasn't Asian, for sure. I leave the office to the printer room, and I come back around, and he's literally saying, like, fucking communist, like, what a stupid bitch.
Sorry, wait, how long ago was this?
This was when my first corporate job.
Okay, no, but like, were you talking about 10 years ago, 20 years ago?
I'm going to say 10 years ago, yeah. Yeah. And I was like, what the fuck?
That's such an ignorant thing to say, even 10 years ago.
That's like, exactly it. Even 10 years ago.
Did this guy have buck teeth and like...
No, unfortunately not. But I was just like, what the fuck? Who says that? Yeah. So just even having to go through that. And on top of that, being a woman, being Asian, being a woman, in the corporate world, like moving on from school to the corporate world, like how much of a struggle I found that was.
Are you 100% that in the corporate world it was? You think the racism was causing primarily a struggle, or was your this sounds bad. Like, I take it you were good at your job and you just still weren't getting recognized.
Yes.
Like, you saw a correlation.
Yeah, very much so. I don't know at that place. I don't know if it was more so racist, but the woman thing, definitely. But it was just interesting to like have to experience that, and I was like, what the fuck is going on? Like, who says that? But I think that really put in my mind how prevalent the racism is in the corporate world.
Yeah, I mean, this topic's so like grandiose and broad because like we're talking specifically about a thing that happened in an event that happened in Calgary, Alberta, with Asian people working in jobs, primarily corporate, I think, or wherever, and having a natural like submissive role, if you will.
Yes.
But if you like, have you been to Hong Kong?
Yes.
Yeah, like I mean, man, like even 20 years ago, there's reverse racism down there. Like there's literally like social, like a caste system still exists.
Right.
Like you have Filipinos usually being like working like as not all of them, like but I'm saying like a lot are working as cleaners and maids.
100%.
And like, but we're all Asian technically. So I don't know. I think sometimes the whole racist thing as I got older. And I mean, I don't have 100% of like I'll never know deep down if someone's racist or not for whatever reasons, but I think it's just human hierarchy behavior. Like I think this would come about. I mean, look at Eminem, right? He talked about being racist as a white guy because he was only a white kid rapping in Detroit, right? So he was in a reverse situation, but I don't know, but it's kind of a phenomenon because I've worked corporate jobs too, and I can't say I notice a racism towards Asians in that regard, like at that point. But at the same time, I remember my experience, everyone was just way older and more mature in that company. But growing up, yeah, like junior high school, I did notice there was a bit of that. But again, it was situational. It depended. I don't know, like because then you would get the one Asian girl who's like super hot, and and like has like some tattoos or whatever, and then next thing you know, she's like the most popular girl in school,
right?
Because like all the boys are like full of hormones, and then like she's like the exotic hot chick, so she gets none of the negative of the racism, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it's hard, and obviously everybody's experience is so different. But yes, going to that conference, it was just really interesting because a lot of people did go through that, dealing with racism in the corporate world, and it was just really interesting to hear. And I think that one thing, again, I wanted to round back to being quiet or being submissive or being, kind of being in a boardroom and them saying something and everybody's just disregarding it. A lot of them had struggled with that as well. So I'm running out of words.
No, it's all right. You can I get what you're saying. I just know, I think again, because I'm a guy, Asian, if you will, and then I don't know, I have a different, not different, I have a more what do you call it, I don't know, like fighterish exterior,
Right.
So, and then like even just the way I talk and stuff, it's not as, I mean, like my fiance is white, and she always says like it's like, no, like you're like, I know you're Asian because I literally can see it, but she's like, yeah, but you're very Canadianized, like
right.
Like with you there's not as much of like, there's none of that I think this sounds bad, but I think there's different types of, if we're just talking about Asians, like I think there's different types. It's like but I do agree, like the majority land in this situation at some point or another.
Right,
like
yes.
like I know my dad went through that. I know my mom went through that. But my sister definitely did not, because she was so smart. Like and my sister's pretty aggressive when she's mad. Like and for an Asian girl, she's pretty tall too. So like she had a different presence.
Lucky.
Yeah. But my mom like is tiny, and and I remember she definitely complained about racism in the workplace. Like no, you're right, no one did take her serious, but they knew she was smart, and so she did all the work. And then come to think of it, I think those overweight white ladies bullied her out of working.
But like that's the thing, some people are really, you're Asian, right? You're smart. Okay, well, here are all the things that you can do. Since you're so smart, let's just push it on to you. Then when a promotion comes, because she's not aggressive about it or speaking on it or being submissive about it, that she's overlooked for a promotion. And I think that going to that conference, that was a lot of that situation, was feeling like they were being overlooked. Because they weren't aggressive and they weren't, out there. And even for some of the guys, they weren't
this
like
was a
frat boy.
Sorry, go on.
Yeah, like a frat boy type of environment, and then them being like the more quieter person, kind of being overlooked for a promotion.
But this also, I think, affects I don't know. It's like, I don't think it's as much currently. I really don't, because of, like the protocol that super left-wing political groups have now instated into making sure like there's like equality in the workplace. But yeah, if we're talking about even 10 years ago ish, then I think like, brown people probably went through the same thing as well.
100%.
Like,
it's not just an Asian.
But I don't want to put it like, oh, it's a white people thing. No, but we're talking about minority.
Yes, minority. Yes, minority. Yes.
That's why I go back to, I don't think it's like I think, okay, every human, like we're not kids anymore. Like there's racism in humans, but I think if you as you dive more deep into it, I think it's more humans creating what do you call it? Like just a hierarchy. There's always like, and like I go back to the Eminem thing 2 seconds ago. Like he was just white in Detroit trying to rap, so of course it was the reverse racist thing happening to him, right?
Right. Yeah. It was just like an interesting thing to see that other people had went through it too. And then I wanted to, speak about obviously entrepreneurship.
Oh, before we dive into that, how did it work out for those people though? Like did they get through their issues, or are they still facing it?
Some of them are still facing it. A lot of the people that were on the panel are very engaged in the community to inform others of or provide skills to letting them know, like, this is not how you're supposed to be treated, especially for like newcomers, for them to know, like, this isn't okay, and finding resources, and also working with agencies to hire minorities. So they do a lot of active work in the community to ensure that. And maybe, again, us, because we're more Canadian, we were born here, so on and so forth. But, for newcomers, I'm sure they may also experience that too.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. I think in the end it is somewhat case by case though, because the tide has changed. There's a lot of minorities now in positions of power and everything like that. But who knows? I don't know. Everything's weird right now. I think there's a lot of different sects now.
And I think that even till now, like from what I see in corporations, is that there's still majority are still, not saying that there isn't, there is minorities in higher positions, but a lot of it is still.
Yeah, there's still an old guard waiting to transfer. But I think as time goes on, because I think interracial relationships and marriages and things are at an all-time high, I think, right now. Like I see them everywhere now. Like I'm not just talking about Asian white, I'm talking about like everything. Like like South America is what, like a like combination of like indigenous, black, Portuguese, Spanish, but like South America's been around for so long that like everyone's been, like blended to the point of, like so I think that's just where Canada is heading towards. But I mean, I've had black friends who told me like there's racism in black regions, like based on who has even darker skin. Yes. So it's like
still like even in Asia, if you have darker skin, it's not you're not.
You're not what?
You're not liked as much
by the people who don't like that. Yeah, that's really what you meant to say.
Yes, exactly. So yeah, of course. But just wanted to like speak about that, and if anybody is still kind of sort of going through that, just know that you're not alone, and there's lots of resources for you to find out more and be active in the community.
So what do you present, what do you propose is like that they should do about it if they feel like something like that is happening? Because like them being like, I'm going to tell on you and report to my boss, doesn't do anything, because the boss might be the same person like mumbling, oh, communist biatch.
I mean, let's just start with, say, the inclusion training that they have in corporations. It's just a training, doesn't mean anything, doesn't change people's minds, So like, how do we take action on that? I mean, I still don't know. And that's why I just want to have a conversation. Like, what are the actions that we can take to ensure that people aren't feeling left out, or people aren't feeling disgusted when they bring their Asian food to work? When they bring their fish.
Well, hold on. That one's a bit different, because literally like it causes the entire lunchroom to have the smell.
I understand, but you know what I mean?
Yeah, like, I do.
So like what, to have that conversation, what does that look like, right? And some people don't know that it's not okay, right? Some things that they do say, they don't know that it's not okay. So
a lot of people, I think, even though the world's so advanced now, it's so ignorant in so many ways.
So how do we like progress past that? How do we,
I don't know. I think
to continuously have that conversation.
I think you just gotta teach people to stand up for themselves.
Yes.
In like, just kind of realize you gotta stand up for yourself.
Yes, you gotta stand up,
but you also have to be able to like back it up, because think of it this way, like you're kind of trying to ruffle the feathers of a already established hierarchy, Now, just know, like, you're going to be ruffling, like, there's a lot more fighting that's going to have to happen. Like, it's not just like, oh, I won this one battle. Like, that you might cause an office war. Yeah. But you just got to be steadfast and realize, like, you're fighting to get rid of that behavior and that, like that, that kind of culture. But I also, like, I would just always preface, like, it's like you just want to get so skilled that you're undeniable, and then you got to play the game a bit. You got to leverage yourself so that, oh, like, I can do that job, because there's the whole corporate world is a game. Like, it really is. Like, I can do that job. Oh, now you need me. Now these are my demands, and you actually have to be always setting up your life to be like able to have a backup plan, and this, you just gotta be real nimble and just not be stuck in the one, because it's not going to be fair. Yeah, life is not fair. It's kind of like not be comfortable. And I think, again, going back to, like, standing up for yourself, little comments that they're making that they think is a joke, you just need to say something. And sometimes I get it, like, unless it's really a joke. Yeah, like, not everything has to be a battle, and you got to choose your battles, right? But I agree, like, if it's just a joke and it's funny, haha, but when it's not, when you funny, can tell there's actually, like, a racist energy behind it. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Just go. Yeah. You gotta go off your feeling, because but man, this seems like such a retro topic sometimes, because I'm like, that really still exists, because it hasn't been in my life, me personally, for a long time. But the fact that you said that there's an entire group that went to this networking event to let you know, like, oh, it's still happening. It's like, wow, like, that really sucks. Yeah. And these people are way younger than us. They're 22, 23, kind of sort of going through it. So it does suck. It does suck to hear that, it's still happening. And I think the whole different game, and I don't know this, I'm a feminist, so I'm just going to go out and say it. Being a woman on top of that is another thing, right? Like, I understand that some women, or some people don't know, but women still don't make the same amount as men do. It is still inequality till this day. And then to be on top of that, a minority, it is extremely difficult, because, like, you're constantly struggling, and it's constantly in the back of your mind too, thinking, like, okay, is it because I'm a woman? Okay, is it because I'm Asian? Like, there's so many things that, as I'm sure some other color women, they may not have to think about that, because they don't feel the effects of that. They don't feel the discrimination. And I'm not saying everybody feels it, because there, like you said, you haven't experienced a lot of that. And I had a girlfriend that said that she hasn't experienced a lot of that, and she's a minority. But I want to say, like, I do notice it, but it doesn't bother me, because I know that they're losers, like, and I just pivot, because I'm like, I already know I'm going to go another route and I will be successful. Right. And, like, they think like that in other aspects of their life, not just racism. Like, it's like, they are losers ultimately, because because if there was something that I could gain from them, I would play their game a little bit to infiltrate the situation, get what I need, and then or maybe develop an alliance. I don't know. Like, I've done that before, but most of the people now that I see still pull those tricks. I look at their life as a totality and them as a person. I'm like they're losers. Like, they're actually, when I say that, I literally mean, like, they're nothing special. Like, if that person for the most part died tomorrow, I don't see like, it's like there wasn't a big splash that they made. So I'm like, hey, like, this is not the real enemy. Yeah. Like, you got to pick your battles, as you said. Yeah. Not, some aren't worth fighting. And it sucks that some people that are like that are in a position of power. And I think that's where, and I get it, where usually that organization's also, like, pretty weak as well, right? Like, yes. And you got to know when to leave. Like, if you feel like it's not serving you and the battle is continuous, you got to know when to leave, because it's no longer serving you, and it's no longer aligning with your goals, right? Like, that's just not a place that you would obviously enjoy working at anymore. So I think sometimes too, being Asian, I find that a lot. My parents are like, oh, you can't change your job. Like,
5 times in a year. Like, you got to stay at one job for a long time. I know that sometimes that gets to the back of their head, being like, oh, my parents said that it's bad to do that, but to job hop and find something that works for you is just as important.
Yeah, no, this topic's more philosophical now, because it's ultimately you're trying to ask, like, how do I live my life, right? Because you can job hop, but at the same time, like, yeah, you can do the entrepreneur thing, which now you work for yourself, but at the same time, like, the landscape's just changing so rapidly, because at the end of the day, if someone has, like, they're really good at something and they have a lot of value, that will transcend race and any of these social issues, you know? Now, I'm not saying that you weren't, like, good at what you do, you know, but, like, it's like, say you're so good at what you do, and on top of it, you stood up for yourself, and then the bosses, they can't fuck with you because they need you, then you can, like, change that situation, you know? But that's also a lot of work if that system is already so corrupt.
Yes.
I mean, isn't that what everyday people are talking about, you know, like just all the race stuff that happened in the US, you know, and like, you know, like, so, but I get what you're saying. This one specifically hit home because you can relate heavily.
Yes, heavily. And you saying playing the game, but vice versa, on being the devil, does the other person who's not a minority, do they have to play the game?
No, and that's a constant thing about the old white privilege nowadays. It's like, but at the same time, like, I think that thing is outdated, like, because like these people might still be stuck in these, like, old school corporations with a really not with it middle management or something. But right now, I notice it's not, like, I mean, I'm not just talking about left-wing movement stuff. I just mean in general now, like, things are a lot of it is starting to show, like, it's off merit, you know, like it's really starting to show.
It's really starting to move. The needle is moving.
Yeah, it's a lot better than when it was your parents' era.
Yeah,
but it's still
exactly. But
perfect.
I just think it's so important to continuously have that conversation, so people don't feel like, you know, they're going through it alone, and to push that needle, like, to continuously have this conversation, to push that needle, I think is so important.
What were some of the resources again that people can do if they feel like they're going through this?
Yeah, so I think the Newcomer Society, they have a lot of resources. One of the gal, sorry, I don't remember, but one of the gal runs a nonprofit, and she helps newcomers and people that are going through that. I think she works with other corporations to, like, find jobs and such that are suitable for them. So I'm sorry, I don't remember,
what do you mean? What do you mean by, like? Okay, but what would she say is a suitable job?
Not suitable,
like,
but like people that are willing, people that are hiring minorities, essentially. Yeah, that were willing to work and, like, hire newcomers and minorities and such, so on and so forth. Yeah, not so much suitable. Sorry, that wasn't really the right word, but
all good then. Okay. Yeah, no, well, that's good. I mean, definitely compassion goes a long way too. Like, fellow Asians, like, like making sure we pick each other up, I guess. But then I also noticed, man, like, if you get, like, 4 Asians, again, we're using Asians as an example here. Man, how many times have we used that word Asian today?
You gotta take it next time. We take a shot every time we say Asian.
Yeah, gotta be beyond fucked up. But Asians, like what was I gonna say? Oh, but sometimes, like, I notice this. You get 4 Asian immigrants. They all roll over here. They might just get at the same time, like, hyper competitive with each other instead of, like, try to, like, uplift each other. You know, it's kind of I don't know. There's endless variables to this 100%, game. You know?
But I agree with you. It is a situational thing, and yeah, I agree. The needle is moving. But yeah, just having that conversation, I think, is just really important to push the needle and ensuring that, you know, it's not happening. And obviously for other people that are seeing it, you know, bystanders.
Yeah. If it's that crazy though, I think people would be reporting it, I think. Or are they not? Like,
I don't think that they are sometimes, because again, they're afraid, to lose their job. If everyone in power is, you don't know, right? If you think everyone in power is with this person and you're reporting it, like, you don't want to lose your job, right? Like, again, the battle that you're choosing.
Yeah, no.
So it's just,
the landscape's so tricky though, because it's like that with everything now. It's like it's like that with talking, like getting canceled, getting fired for a bad joke.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you know, well, you know, like you and Lonnie were just discussing too, like how should we present this podcast product for the business? And, you know, like it's like
it's a hard line.
It's tricky.
Yeah.
I don't know what the answer is right now. Like I personally just say whatever because I'm in position too. But yeah, but then again, I always kind of push the limits.
Yeah. And I think that everybody's different, right? Like
and I have been in trouble before.
obnoxious, and I'm very loud. I'm obnoxious. I speak out. So
because you're sticking up for yourself because exactly what you went through.
Exactly. And my husband always tells me, like, especially when I was younger, he's like, you literally need to stand up for yourself. You're not standing up for yourself. You consistently just let it slide. So now, I've built my defense up. So I'm always defending myself. But I wasn't always doing it. I mean,
well, you got tricked into thinking you were handicapped. And then I don't know, sorry, it's kind of comical now that
and I was like, somebody's calling me a fucking communist.
So that's so ignorant.
And I was like, what?
Dude, anyway.
So and I'm sure that's not the only things that people have said.
Oh, people are pricks, man. People say the worst things about each other. Like, I mean, we're no angel. I mean, I'm sure you say crazy stuff like as well. But I get what you're saying. Like this one hit home because of I do understand what you're saying. You can relate. You know, it's a prevalent problem still, and
it's sad that it's still a problem because going to this event, I was like, what? Like this happened to me 10 years ago, and it probably still is happening. You know, when I was working corporate, but you don't hear about it or whichever. But yeah, the fact that it's still happening is insane.
Yeah.
And then I wanted to touch on entrepreneurship.
Yeah, let's go. Yeah. Let's switch gears again. Yeah. We didn't solve that Asian race problem that we talked about.
Yes.
But we brought some more awareness.
Yeah. Tell your friends it's not cool. Entrepreneurship. I mean, obviously now, there's a lot more Asian entrepreneurs. We're pushing the needle, we're moving forward, but still we go to networking events and there's still not as many. And is it because we are afraid to, or maybe you don't want to? I'm not saying that literally, but to the people that do want to, is it because you are afraid, or is it because your parents have told you that you having a corporate steady job is the way to go, or being told that you're not the main character? So just trying to again push that needle, why aren't we seeing as many? What are your opinions on that?
Well, first, I didn't realize that was the case because I know a lot of Asian entrepreneurs. I know so many Asian, from my dad's friends to people my age, that started their own businesses.
Yeah.
From all walks, like I know their own construction business to I know Ernie from Trolley 5. Ernie's one of the biggest guys in the industry in Calgary. I know loads of Asian entrepreneurs actually, so maybe I'm not seeing it. And for
maybe
me,
vice versa. Maybe I'm not seeing it because I'm going to these events and I'm not seeing it on my end.
You're totally fascinating me on both our realities being so different. Because I mean, just at the same time, this is a little quick side story, but my brother's mother-in-law, she was walking one day, and I remember her saying yeah, it's such a nice day to walk, and I bumped her on the street, and I'm kind of like, are you out of your mind? I'm like, look behind you. There was literally a homeless guy about to OD. This other guy's in the corner, literally I think hitting his girlfriend. Literally the traffic light was broken. At the time, I was what was I doing? I was just hungover and walking, just really needed Gatorade or whatever, and and then and then, but she's just no, what a great day, I'm like, man, you have a different paradigm, because she focuses on different things, and she just doesn't run into the problems I run into,
right.
But again, it fascinates me because we're both in Calgary, and I didn't notice any of what you just said, and then you're saying it's there, I see it everywhere, so that's fascinating to me. but so I can't really comment on that. I see plenty of Asian entrepreneurs, loads. I see entrepreneurs of all types.
Yeah.
But I guess I can comment a bit on you're saying if an Asian wanted to be an entrepreneur, like
I mean, a lot of it is sometimes held back. Sometimes they do get.
Yeah, I do agree. Like for the most part, you're taught not to do that path because you're taught to get the sure thing and to take the path of least resistance.
Yes.
Man, I don't know. I have different opinions on that because the entrepreneur
and that's interesting
life,
to hear that that you on the vice versa side is seeing it.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I was told to play it safe. And I did for a while. I worked for one of the biggest oil companies. Like, to be honest, like money wise, I was solid, and like there was a career path, and like, but I personally have no kids, and back then I was single, so like if I had kids in a marriage back then, I don't think I would have done this. I'm not gonna lie, because the overwhelming amount of like real time financial problems I had to solve to, like pay bills and to get this going. Like I wouldn't have time necessarily for my dreams the way I would want. But for me, like pursuing this was because I had the option to do it. Like the world was my oyster, and I was like, why am I in this office doing this thing I don't give a fuck about like at all. And this job can be replaced by AI. It probably will be replaced by AI.
Will.
And I'm losing energy. 40 hours a week. I'm tired coming home from this thing, and then like I saved the 2 hours left I have at night for my hobbies, which is like whatever, like working out, and then the day is done, and then next you do it for 5 days straight, and then the weekend you want to socialize, well, that was me anyway, and next you don't have much of a life. And I really started realizing, I was like, hey, I better reroute this thing to try to do something I love all the time and try to get good at it so that money comes from that. But I will say, like, the entrepreneur life is hard, man. Like, there's no sure thing. Everything's a risk. You could lose it all. You have wins some days and they're really high, and then you have losses some days and they're really low.
You can get replaced by AI anytime.
Yeah, well, maybe not me, because I own a bar, restaurant, but my staff can.
Yeah,
like watch out. No, I'm joking. No, I don't know. Like, that was a tricky one, because I'm not gonna lie. Like we just had our 1 year anniversary, and so. Big ups to
it was amazing to see it all on social media. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. And the party was insane. It was super fun. But like this past year, like there's a lot of behind the scenes, like a lot of fucking hurdles. I mean, sometimes I fully believe, like I do believe in God, and sometimes I'm like, okay, like God favors me to us to get this done, and then some days I'm like, where are you, buddy? Because
you're like hello.
Because everything went wrong. And it went wrong for a while, and to the point where like some days you're just faking a smile because that's the only move you got left is to not show total complete like loss of hope or whatever. And then
putting one foot in front of the other, like that's all you can try to do. It is exhausting.
Yeah, it is exhausting. And the hours are this is your life. So every hour you feel guilty if you're not doing something for your business, because the reality is someone else is out there going hard, sleeping, like Elon Musk. There's an Elon Musk out there sleeping 2 hours a day somehow and making that work, and he's like inventing rockets. Like, your competitors might be like creating such a vibe that your bar is no longer like the fun place to be, and like I mean, it's like 24/7, and I don't know, like, so, but it's going to pay off, I believe, because, well, one, I am the smartest I've ever been from doing this. I'm the most experienced. I push myself more than ever. Like, I know how to handle adversity. A lot of adversity. There's some new ones that like I'm going through right now that I'm still trying to figure out how do we navigate through this one. You learn not to quit for the most part, and like and what I mean by that is like there's a point of diminishing returns. Like, like to use a fighting analogy, I mean, you can do you know any MMA stuff?
I don't.
Okay, well, just a quick one. There's this guy named Kamaru Usman. He fought Leon Edwards. Anyway, two really athletic black dudes. Anyway, they had a championship fight. Kamaru Usman was beating the crap out of Leon Edwards. I'm talking about for 5 rounds.
Wow.
The fight's only 5 rounds. So the last bit of the last round, a lot of fighters would just quit at that point. They would just and Kamaru was doing moves like he was holding him down and beating on him and like, but he wasn't getting a knockout. He was just beating the guy's spirit down and it seemed like the other guy, Leon, had no moves left and like he could quit, but like he could, instead of tapping out and quitting early, he could just kind of hold his hands like this, take a beating, and then just give the belt to Kamaru. But he still tried, and then at the last minute he threw a high kick, KO'd Kamaru Usman cold. Won the belt.
Way.
Yeah, literally took the belt. So had he quit on himself mentally, he wouldn't have tried to throw that high kick, right?
Right.
You know, and we've seen Kamaru Usman break down so many other guys like that. So in life, if we're using that same analogy, like, do you hang on right to the end? And maybe you throw a Hail Mary and maybe that one move, like, I don't know what it is. It could be you just don't quit mentally. And I don't know, one day you attract into your world like a billionaire and all of a sudden he funds your business. I don't know.
Yeah.
But had you folded early, you would never see. Yeah. Or at the same time, do you fold when, you know, like things are just not making sense anymore? You're losing money out of your ass. Like, you know, you literally have no clothes that are clean anymore. like do you quit then? Like, I don't know. I don't have the right answer, you know?
Yeah,
so,
I agree. And like, I find there were and still some days where I'm like, man, I just want to give up.
Have a regular job.
You know, have a regular job. But then having that regular job, the one thing for me... You're back to want to
be an entrepreneur.
Yeah. And the one thing for me was when I went back to corporate, I was like, you know what? I regret it. I was like, oh, I should have been climbing this corporate ladder. And like, I thought it was going to fulfill me, but every single day it would just eat me up. It would just eat me up.
To be honest, Jenny, that's most people.
Yeah.
Like everyone I talk to, like having beers, like they hate their job in the corporate world.
Yeah.
They're there because of the steady paycheck, and most of them got someone pregnant. And you know, but
yeah,
most people who are free, they don't really want to do that.
No,
like,
and it's so. But like in your head, you know, for me, I'm like in my head, I'm like, oh, I should start this. Oh, I should start this. Like multiple entrepreneur businesses, but it's hard. But I think the one thing, like I was just talking to Lonnie about it last week. I was like, it's hard, but it's fulfilling, and it's the happiest I've ever been. It is just so it just like fuels your soul when you do something you love, and I know I'm lucky enough to do that.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. Oh, sorry, keep going.
No, go ahead. It's just, I just wanted to say that, you know, entrepreneurship, it is hard. I agree with you. But on the flip side, you know, it's fucking fulfilling. It's fucking fulfilling.
When you feel like you can win.
Yeah. Yeah, when you're winning. Because when you're losing, it don't feel like that sometimes.
No, because I've known some entrepreneurs that have failed and they're bankrupt right now. And times are tough for them, man. Like their wife left them. The kids hate them now because the kids used to have like everything, and now they blame him for not having the same like lifestyle.
Right.
And then he went through depression and like tried to kill himself.
Oh my God.
Lost his faith in God for a bit. Used to believe in God. Like, but the weird thing about his journey was he had it all. Like he was super like successful, but he just a series of events, like, you know, like that global thing that happened that made everyone cough all the time.
Yeah, that thing.
Yeah, like
that thing took me out too. I was out.
Yeah, I
was out. You know, I was making, you know, had multiple clients.
Yeah,
making decent money to being like, hey, when it's social media, they're like, goodbye.
Yeah, well, it's everything. Like, so I mean, so I see and then I have another buddy. His dad was on top of the world as well. And then he had a string of not bad luck, however you want to call it. Things didn't work out. Like it went from having a business that was succeeding for like 15 straight years of kicking ass. And then my buddy's dad, like he took a gamble to expand on his business. So he put a lot more capital in, but then the sales weren't there. And the next, you know, there was some other mess up. Then he was an idiot too. He did some dumb stuff on his own, like. But he lost it all, and he went into a brutal depression, and he was a shell of himself for 10 years until he finally got back with it. So I mean, like it's risky and it's not for everyone.
Yes.
But the people who are hyper happy, like they succeeded. So everyone looks at those people, but I don't know. I don't know what the advice is on this. Like,
I don't know either. I mean, again, it's situational, right? Everybody's different. Everything is different. I mean, and we, like, me and my girlfriend, we just started a company called Miku. It integrates social media and AI. We run workshops for nonprofits and small businesses so they can kind of learn more about it and be, with it rather than without it. But it's also the fact that you're consistently, like, I find, I mean, you have a tangible place, whereas, like, I find like, I have a tangible business, but it's not a tangible place. So it's like consistently thinking, like, okay, will this end? Like, do I need to start something new? Do I need to find other sources of income? And it's consistent. For me, it's consistently thinking like that all the time. And ever since COVID too, I've been feeling like that. So it's just being like, okay, how do I pivot? How do I move? But I feel like every entrepreneur is kind of like that too. But how do I pivot? How do I move? It kind of consumes your mind all day long to be like innovative and relevant almost. And it's tricky. Get the engagement in the business. Yeah, it's a tricky one. I don't know either how.
I'm gonna wind this down right now. We did an hour already.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, just flew by. I don't know, but one thing I do know, what you said 2 seconds ago, I will piggyback off that, because, like, I am happy. Like what is happiness? Like that emotion. Like I am excited to get up and every day because I am doing what I love. But am I whatever you call it, fearless and full, like, no anxiety? Like, no, I would say my anxiety is skyrocketed like crazy, but I'm happy. So, like, I realize now there's one thing that, like, is one quote that I will leave people with this. I learned in life, there truly is no free ride. Like, everything has a catch. It's what you make of it, how you control the way you look at it to control how you feel about it. And so you have to have positive, like, self-talk. You got to look at things, like, in a way of, like, you got to see it from the angle of the positive in it. And then you got to just, like, compartmentalize your mind to go to work, put those couple hours aside for yourself so you can stay sane. Remember, do shit outside of your business as well. It's a constant juggling act. Like, I have notes on my phone to constantly remind me of this, because like otherwise I'm manic, because some day I'm, like, so happy, and then it's like, it's like you have to be more like this. And that's the only thing I can advise to people. Like, if you want to be an entrepreneur, like, go for it. But just know, like, you are venturing into a small percentage of people. Most people won't do this because it is harder in ways that living conventional life isn't. And you are risking till you succeed.
Yes.
So until you succeed, you won't know if it was truly worth it.
And even if you do, like, what is success? Because sometimes, to me, I'm like, oh, it's successful. But is it successful? Because you're constantly chasing it. You're constantly chasing the next pivot of your move.
I define success as when you finally hit a point where you don't have to worry about money. You don't have to be rich, but you don't have to worry about money. And you've developed habits and skills that you will be relevant. Like you're not just going to be like, oh, hit the lottery and then, like, I'm going to go lay on a beach and lose all my skills. Like you've developed a habit of learning to the point where it doesn't bother you anymore. Like, it's not drudgery. It's like it's a habit, and you don't have to think too hard about it. And then you're always upgrading. And then the last thing is you have time. So like, no one should be working, like, 100 hours a week or whatever Elon Musk said, because, like, then where's the other part of your life? Like, you should be working, like, like, I mean, whatever, even if you work 4 days a week, fine. Those days, maybe put in 12 hours 4 days a week, but you should have 3 hours a week to enjoy and have fun. Like, because, like, it's all balance. If you can't have fun, then what the fuck's the point?
Yeah.
And if you And if all you do is have fun, and you don't have purpose, what the fuck's the point? Everything's a balance, everything's a balance. So you want to find that perfect balance and have that always be happening. That to me is success. So however long that takes, you might take, like, I'm 38, maybe I'm 50 when this finally happens, but if I'm 50 to 75 and I have that, and that's 25 good years, I think it was worth it, and also bring value to people. Like, what do you do? Does it, because ultimately money comes from bringing value.
Yes. Yes.
So,
and I think that's the fulfilling part too, is like bringing value to people, like even today when we were, I work with Lonnie, we were talking about at CCJA, he literally just had an idea and was working towards it. Like there was nothing. It was literally a blank slate. And to be able to like see and help it transition to this, like an actual post-secondary, I was like, this is insane. Like that's what drives me. That's what brings me value, is finding that helping others and having value is fulfilling.
Yeah. Well, it has to be, because like you don't want to just chase money blindly. Like I'm not just trying to make a bar to develop a bunch of alcoholics and drug addicts. You know what I mean? Like, like that doesn't make you happy. Like I open a bar because I want to create a good vibe. I keep myself and my personality, so people, when they come in, they get the vibe is, hey, everyone's welcome. Come have fun here. And then like, I try to stay positive with jokes and humor and everything, like because that creates value, because most people are like a lot of times they come to a bar because they're having a tough day, right? Like that's what I'm trying to do. Now I'm not perfect either, but I'm cognizant of that because like I have my own challenges, but like that's how I'm creating value. And then with this podcast, right? Like I create a simple podcast setup that's only $60 for one camera angle rental at kaksbarpodcast.com versus like a super studio, because so many people have told me they want to shoot podcasts, but some of these studios, I'm like, dude, if it costs $200 every time to make a podcast, some guy wants to make 4 1 week, he's spending $800 a week, like you're gonna go broke making podcasts. But if you just do a simpler setup like me, and then we film it for you, and then you don't have to spend money on equipment, it's $60. 60, fine, 60 a week, get forward, like it's way more affordable. And like that to me is creating value, and hopefully the person also like enjoys the food, and then or even sometimes value isn't measured in money. Like today, maybe I brought some value to you in the Asian conversation, just like you brought it to me, and like it's just as long as you're creating value, that also means you're successful. Yeah, like all that adds up. I know that for a fact.
I agree.
And hold on, I have a train of thought here. Like have you heard about the guy that wrote Moby Dick? So Moby Dick, the book about the big whale or whatever. I found out that guy who wrote that book, he died before that book got popular. When he published it, apparently the people publishing it told him it was a crappy book. No one gives a shit. So sometimes it's funny. So he actually died, from what I understand, not super happy. He felt like a failure, but is after he died that he didn't realize he brought so much value. The book became Moby Dick. So sometimes you have to like try to be wise and like know that whatever you're going through, like you still have to see it through, because everything's relative. It might have impact later, even when it doesn't benefit you. So that one's tricky too. Being able to be in a position to, I calculate success too, as in what you did helps people even when you're like not there.
Helping like the future generation.
It could be you're successful if you were a good dad, because you raised a good kid, and that kid went on to accomplish great things, but the dad may not have been rich, but he's successful. That's it. And it's a wide definition, but there are complete markers that have to be hit. That's why I think it's successful, not just having a bunch of money, because a bunch of like coked out rich people who are like divorced and
100%.
miserable.
Money does not always equal happiness.
It's just how.
But I mean, we'd be okay to try it just to see what it's like.
Well, I mean, I think there is a magic number. I think based on the economy, like 1 year ago, $70K per person already. You're happy financially. You will have all your basic needs, and they're nice basic needs. You can still go out for a fancy dinner, have drinks, and like buy some nice clothes and blah blah. Like, so if we can all get to at least or whatever, maybe more, 100K. I don't know what the magic number is. But you're right. It'd be nice to know what a meal is. I
mean, we're okay to know that.
I am. I'm still a startup, so I'm nowhere near that. But okay, Jenny. Jenny's Verzilla.
Yes.
Yeah. That's gonna be the show notes there. I take it you have an Instagram page and all that.
Yes,
Yeah.
I do.
Okay. Is it just VIRTZILLA?
Yeah, and you can also find Miku too, the company that I just started with my girlfriends, because it's a bit more relevant on the AI with the social media.
Cool. You want to spell that one?
I'll link that over. Yeah.
Okay. Wait, can you spell it? Like
Yeah, MIKU.
MIKU. Okay,
Yeah.
so if I look it up on Instagram, Miku.
Yeah.
Is there?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Sweet. Yeah. All that would be in the show notes. Okay. Hope everyone enjoyed this conversation. Bye.
Thanks, everyone.